statistics, huh? How were you yesterday? Oh yeah, you locked yourself out, didn't you? Where are you? Gone to the practice test might be a good idea.
I want to send it for that. So if I want you to I'll give it 2 hours and you'll have to go.
Okay. Still, this worries me. Yes. Can I what? Who did you print? That's Louisa's. I think, okay. That's okay, she can give it to me in physics. Yeah. Huh? You want me to give that to Louise? Give it to me after the physics class and I'll give it to her. Okay guys, so you got page 82. So, what we're going to look at now is statistics. No. Hey, come on, guys, come on. So, we're going to have a look at statistics. So this is the last chapter. Problem, Anthony? Thank you. So this is the last chapter, but it's a pretty big chapter anyways. Guys, I can still hear people talking. No, don't be stupid. You were talking, weren't you, Charles? If you continue talking, I'll kick you out. Look, I think it's so cute that the two of you decided to dress the same today. It's so cute. So cute. Just so cute. So what, Charles, did you ring up Joshua and tell him what you're going to wear? Or was it Joshua who rang you up? I'll say there's a mental connection, yeah? You two are ridiculous. Okay, so statistics. So for the first lesson, we're just going to be looking at types of data. So the first lesson, it might seem simple, but you might get this in the exam. I have seen it before, just as a 1-mark question. What they would do is they would say something like, for 1 mark, what type of data is this? Okay, so it's important that you can identify the different types. So firstly, guys, please, come on now. So firstly, our data can be put into 2 main categories. I won't bother talking about what exactly data is, because since you are doing chemistry and biology and physics and so on, you would have collected data before. But maybe what you've not really talked about are the different types of data. So firstly, our data can be split into 2 main categories. Yep. Qualitative and quantitative. Although there are other words to describe, there is a synonym for qualitative and one for quantitative. Qualitative can also be called categorical. And quantitative can be called numerical. Okay. Now, anybody, Tal, you know the word qualitative, and maybe from biology as well, I think Colin talks a little bit about qualitative and quantitative. So does anyone feel like they could try and give me the definition between the two?
Something that you can count.
Not quite as straightforward as that. No, that sounds a lot like Colin, doesn't it? Did Colin say that? It sounds like a biology answer, and it's fine, but I think we can be a bit more actually specific than that. It's a little bit like what you said, Naveed, and a bit what you said as well about counting. I think we all can picture maybe examples of each. So what would be an example of something quantitative? A weight, yeah. And what about qualitative? Huh? Yes, eye colour, yeah. So what is the main difference between those two?
You can count one and you can...
Yeah, okay, fine. We'll just stick with counting then. But you can count eye colour as well. How many people have brown eyes in here? You know, that can be counted.
You can count how brown it is.
Now we're getting closer. You can't count how brown is, yeah. So, the thing about quantitative, this data is numerical in nature. So firstly, the data is a number. Yeah. Yeah, sure, yeah. So firstly, the data is a number, but that's not quite enough for it to be quantitative. There has to be something else about it as well. So also, now really I'll put this in brackets because it's more of a definition to help you understand, but not really part of the formal definition. Also, it makes sense to find the average. So you know, if you have a list of numbers, you can find the average of that list, and if you have a list of eye colours, you can't find the average of eye colours. So you can't say the average of brown, green, blue is something, right? But you can find the average of a list of numbers like weights. So then what about qualitative? What do we think? How's that one different? And you?
That makes sense to find that.
Yeah, so firstly it doesn't make sense to find the average. And what else? Do you think it has to be a number or maybe not? No. Yeah, so in fact with qualitative it can be numerical and also non-numerical, okay? But it's usually which? Usually non, yeah. So, this data, Daniel, come back to the next class. This data is normally not numerical. And also, it makes no sense to find the average. It's the easiest definition I can give you, but what I don't like about it is we haven't really talked about average, and we can make the definition more formal than this. We don't really need to for the exam. All we need to do for the exam is to identify which is qualitative and which is quantitative. So what I was going to do, rather than giving you the notes and then letting you do the questions, we can do the notes and then we can do the questions together, because it's all just saying qualitative or quantitative. So we'll do the first question together, where we have to identify if it's qualitative or quantitative. So let's have a look at question 1. You all have it in front of you there? So we'll just go through one by one. So here are examples of different types of data. So the first one, height of men in Ireland, qualitative or quantitative? Quantitative. Daily temperature high during November. Quantitative. Daily local bank exchange rate last week. Quantitative, yeah. Most popular political party each month of last year. Qualitative. Grade achieved in mathematics exam in the class. So everybody's grade here. Qualitative. Because grade is ABCD. Yeah. But you can't find the average of, like, A, the letter, yeah. Now, if it'd be a totally different story if I said the results, then you could find the average. The blood type of students in a class, qualitative. The ingredients in a chocolate bar, qualitative. NQK points earned last year in Ireland, quantitative. The time in the game at which the goal scored by a football team player in the season took place. So in other words, what time goals were scored at? Quantitative, yeah. The names in the Dublin phone book. Qualitative, yeah. Total goals scored by each football player in a team. Quantitative. Calorie intake per day of each student. Quantitative. The hottest month each year. Qualitative. How much each of your last 4 phone bills were. Quantitative. The colour of each student's eye in the class. Qualitative. A copy of the attempt made by a child on their spelling test of the words 1 to 10. So you take a child's spelling test and they have to spell the words 1 to 10. So this is your data, these 10 answers. Qualitative or quantitative? Qualitative, yeah. And then the last one, the phone numbers in a Dublin phone book. No, we have the names. Qualitative. Why are phone numbers qualitative if they're numbers though? Yeah, doesn't make sense to have an average phone number. And anyway, phone numbers are names, aren't they? Well, a phone number is just a name. It's the name of a phone connection on a network. A bit like what else? What else would be like a phone number? IP address. So that everybody's IP address here, although that's a list of numbers, it's still qualitative data. So this is what I mean by the data is normally not numerical, but there are some examples where it is numerical. Okay? Right, so that's number 1 then. But then within each of the two, qualitative and quantitative, they can be split into 2 as well. So for the quantitative, that can be split into, sorry, I'll do the qualitative first. The qualitative can be split into ordinal and nominal. Biology students, have you done these words? Have you done qualitative and quantitative? Is that a yes or a no? But you don't know if you've done them in biology? You think you've done it? Maybe. Okay. But you haven't done ordinal and nominal. So your qualitative data can be split into 2 as well. We can have ordinal data and we can have nominal qualitative data. So ordinal, this is when the data has a built-in order. It has a natural order to it. So if I said to you gold, silver and bronze, which colour is the greatest? Gold. But we just said a moment ago that colours, you can't say how brown something is. So why did you say gold is the greatest of the three? Huh? Yeah, well, it has a value, like a money value, but also like it's the colours of the metals. Gold is first, silver is second, and bronze is third. So, you know, your data of metals, you know that gold is before silver, which is before bronze. But you can't do the same thing with eye colour. You can't say brown is before green, which is before blue, something like this. So this means that sometimes your qualitative data has a natural order to it and sometimes it doesn't. When it does have a natural order to it, built inside of it, we call it ordinal. And when it doesn't, we say it's nominal. This data has no built-in natural order to it. Now, just to be clear, by natural order, see, there's a word here now, I won't even bother writing it down because it might be a word that most people wouldn't know. Does anybody know the word semantics? Semantics? No? Yeah, I can ask your EAP teacher to try and explain that to you as well. Now really, does anyone know this word, semantics? So for semantics, what I mean is, something like gold, silver, bronze has a natural order to it. But if I said three people's names, Anne, Barry, Charlie, you might say, well, that has an order to it because you have A first, B second, and C third. But alphabetical orders, that's something called semantics. It's not really a natural order because the alphabetical order just depends on the language, which is going to be different. If you translate that into those three names into a different language, then the order won't be the same. Whereas gold, silver, bronze, a gold medal is a gold medal. It's first place everywhere. Whereas something like an alphabetical order is not. And you said as well, gold is more valuable than silver. That's true everywhere. Okay. And so maybe it might help if I give you the word that's maybe the opposite of semantics. It would be intrinsic, Intrinsic, what? No, how? Now that's the second time you distracted me with your laughing today. Now don't act surprised. If you do it again, I'm asking you to leave.
It was not love, it was sneeze.
Really? It looks like you were enjoying it, so. Alright, the opposite of semantics is intrinsic. Does anyone know what intrinsic means? What's that then? No, don't volunteer other students. No. Intrinsic means built in, really, but it means like universal. So if I say gold has an intrinsic value, that means everyone everywhere should recognize gold has a value. Okay? If I say something like food has an intrinsic value, definitely, because everywhere, every person at all times recognizes the importance of food because they need it. But semantics is kind of like the opposite, you know. So for another example of semantics would be left and right. Okay? There's no such natural thing as left and right. If we went to a different culture and they called the other hand left and the other one right, then everything, no, they wouldn't notice any difference, okay? So leftness and rightness is semantics.
So language is semantics.
So basically a lot of things with language is semantics. So that's why we don't include alphabetical order as part of a built-in order. Okay?
Can you give an example of semantics?
Really, as Joshua was saying there, it's mostly to do with languages. Another example actually from physics would be positive and negative. So, from chemistry, what charge does an electron have? Negative. A proton? Positive. But if you said an electron has a positive charge and a proton has a negative charge, nothing about your theory would change. Just all the words get swapped, but you wouldn't tell any difference. So I know of another alien species called protons negative and electrons positive. They wouldn't know any better. Because positive and negative is semantics as well. And again, you can see that the language thing is too. Okay? So we're all clear about the difference between built-in order and something which is not built in. So let's have a look at the second one there. Ordinal or nominal. So first one, the names of the Irish rugby team, the players. Nominal. Nominal. The TV listings, so that's the TV schedule for tonight. Yeah, what do we think now? It's getting a little bit unclear. Yeah? We think ordinal. Hey, what do we think? Ordinal or nominal? Ordinal. Because it has a natural order. Because the 9 o'clock news comes after the 8 o'clock show, which comes after the 7 o'clock show.
Yeah, but those are it's the song.
Say again, yeah?
The those is shift. Oh, okay.
It's okay? It can be tricky to tell the difference. The list of all TV shows that will be on the TV station next year. So the list of all TV shows. No. The names of students in a class. No. Those people awarded a medal in the 100-meter dash. Yeah, but I think I said gold medal, didn't I? I said medal. Yeah, I really should have said gold medal there, so I'll change it. So those people awarded a gold medal. That'll be nominal then, because they all have a gold medal. The name given to each year of a college, so you know you have junior freshman, senior freshman. It's ordinal, yeah, because it has an order, naturally. A list of the answers given to the survey question, what is your favourite all-time film? Nominal, yeah.
Unless they have multiple choice questions.
Yeah, or unless you start counting how many people said the same one. But just a list of the different answers will be nominal. Last year's suppliers of electricity in Ireland. Ordinal. But I want you to have a very close look. Yeah, well, I want someone to tell me what is it about that sentence that made it ordinal and not nominal. Last year's suppliers of electricity. What did you say? Suppliers, yeah? You're right, but why? That won't fly in the exam, so I don't carry that much authority. Not so much that Yusuf had it here, it's to do with the word suppliers. So listen carefully to two different descriptions here. last year's suppliers of electricity in Ireland versus the people who you can buy electricity from. So the second one is different to the first one. The first one has the word suppliers in it. The second one doesn't. So if I just said to you, okay, you all have apartments or whatever, who can you buy electricity from? So you'd say, electricity, Electric Ireland, Bord Gas, all the different people. So that's definitely nominal. That's just a list of your options. But why does having the word suppliers in there make it different? Well, that's not quite that. Well, hang on, just think about it. Just turn the EAC part of your brain off for a moment, and then you can quickly turn it back off again. What does the word suppliers mean? Or supply as a verb? What does that mean? How many definitions? To supply means to supply. What does to supply mean? To give. So that word has built into it a sense of size. You can be a big supplier or a small supplier. You can give a lot or you can give a little. So suppliers of electricity have an order to it of size. Who supplies the most, who supplies the least? No, you're right. But if I said, list the suppliers of electricity, that has the ordinal. Because I use the word supply means amount, how much is given, suppliers of electricity. That would be slightly different to providers of electricity.
If you said that the entire energy supply, then it would be ordinal.
But notice this, if I said to you, list the 3 winners of the 100-meter dash, I don't need to tell you, tell me who came first, who came second, who came third. You know that there's already a natural order there. You would tell me the gold, the silver, and the bronze. The winners. Oh, okay, sorry. Those awarded a medal then, if you don't call second and third place winners then. So those awarded a medal. When I say that, do I need to add anything into that so that you know I'm talking about first, second, third? And I don't. So what I'm saying in the language, suppliers means to supply, the amount, the size, so that I must be talking about, alright, who's the biggest, who's the smallest. Provider is different. You could have just one customer and you'd still be a provider of electricity. Okay. Say again? Yeah. That's the word supply has built into it a quantity, a measure, whereas providers does not. No. I'm trying to think of maybe an easier example. Maybe if I said, give me a list of people in the school who can speak English. So, that would be everybody here, I think. And then if I said to you, give me a list of people who have an IELTS cert. It sounds like the same thing, because to speak English, you need, if you have an IELTS cert, you need to be able to speak English. But there is a bit of a difference between give me a list of people who can speak English and give me a list of people who have an IELTS cert.
For example, you
Because I have an IELTS cert, yeah. But I said if you have an IELTS cert, you can speak English, not if you speak English, you have an IELTS cert. So I was careful, they did change the order in which I said it, yeah. But anyway, the difference is, if I said, give me a list of people who can speak English, you just give me this class list. Whereas if I said, give me a list of people with an IELTS cert, this has a natural order to it. You could put the list by order of smallest, lowest results, to highest results, or the other way around. But now the list has an order, even though it's the same list of names. Now there's an order into it. Okay. You ask your EAP teacher and see if they give as good of an explanation. Who is your EAP teacher? Today. Michelle's out, Stephen B will be covering it. Good luck at that, Stephen B. Right. Next one now. the name of the occupants of each house in a district. Nominal, yeah. It's nominal. The name of people who live in an area is nominal. No, I just said the names of people who live in an area.
Maybe somebody's relative.
Yeah, but I didn't say the name of taxpayers in an area. Then that would have an order to it. You could put the wealthiest the wealthiest person who pays the least tax. So you put that back. The name of the owner of each house for sale in a district. Ordinal. Well, could be, yes. Yeah.
The person who's more valuable could
No, what would be the natural order to that list? Not biggest and smallest, that's quite that. Most expensive to least expensive. House. Because I said, listen carefully, the name of the owner of each house for sale. For sale. So when a house is for sale, it has a number to it, doesn't it? You can list those owners by the most expensive property being sold to the least expensive. No. For a natural order, I just mean it can be ranked one way or in the reverse. Yeah, that's it. If there's some kind of scale that can be put in place. Well, sorry, not that there's already in place. The name of each Sherlock Holmes short story. No. Something anonymous. And then the last one here, the name of each of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, that's the author of the book, Sherlock Holmes. The name of each of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle publications of Sherlock Holmes. The name of each of his publications. It's ordinal. Hey, I'll say it again. And please pay close attention to the choice of the words here. I did this very, very deliberately. Okay, so if I said the name of each of his publications.
There could be, you can list them in alphabetical order according to the word name, which would be nominal, right? And you
alphabetical order doesn't count if you remember it. This is semantics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's the nominal, if you're saying.
It's to do with the word publications. Very good. You got it. Publication, the verb publish, means to release, for public reasons, which means always, it's released on a date. There was some point at which it was released to the public. So whenever you talk about publications, it always has a date with it.
If you would delete the word name from the sentence, I would agree with you. But the word name makes the thing of an alphabetical. Because you can put publications in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Because of the word name.
But let me put it like this, if I just use the name of the people awarded a medal.
Still, you can put them in alphabetical.
But we're not counting alphabetical.
Yeah, so it would be nominal.
But we just said 2 minutes ago, the name of people who won a medal can be put in order of the gold person, the silver person, the bronze person.
Can be.
Yeah. So that's all you need, that there is a scale built in.
So what scale is it?
Just like with the TV listings, it's the release date. Just like with the TV schedule, it's the time the show is on at. So if you were to list this publication, just think for a moment, even that sentence, list his publications. You wouldn't, if I could list someone's publications, like on a CV or a resume, you wouldn't list the publications randomly or in alphabetical order. What is the normal way to list publications? By date. So if you look at a scientist's publication, you would list their latest publication all the way down to their first publication. So publications have a natural date order to them. Whereas if I just said, oh, what papers has that person written? There's not necessarily an order to that, because that's just a list of what they've written. But a list of their publications is different. We'll just do the last type, quantitative, and then we'll take a break, yes, before your brain explodes. But you do notice here the importance to detail of the language. Yeah.
This is a one-word course.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm just helping your brain to expand a little bit here as well. Yeah. Well, you know, no pain, no gain. Okay. Last type now. Quantitative. Now, maybe from biology, you can know the two different types, maybe. It's continuous and discrete. So, continuous, any ideas?
Years.
No, I mean what makes something continuous. Not quite.
Unstoppable.
No. So, I mean, Colin has talked to you about continuous and discrete when you're doing your data handling question, hasn't he? With your histogram and bar chart? You have not done data handling with Colin? Yeah. Are you sure about that? Alright. This is clearly wrong.
I remember that he didn't teach us the lesson, but said, just don't know.
Okay. It's not really important for biology anyway, but I'll tell you the difference between continuous and discrete. Not quite that. Just to pin it down. Yeah, that's what most people say now. Continuous doesn't have to be end-installed, but usually it is. Continuous, the data has not quite limit or no minimum value. Minimum unit. So, for example, height is a good one. What do you measure height in? Meters. But you could also measure it in centimeters. Or you could also measure it in millimeters. Yeah. No, if we just think about metric, you can measure it in meters, right? If you want to be more accurate, you can measure it in centimeters, and even more millimeters. So there is no limit, if you want to use that language. There is no minimum unit. You don't have to stop at centimeters, and you cannot reduce it anymore. Continuous means it's almost like the resolution can be as high as you like. You can make it as accurate as you like. This is continuous. So height is a good example. Normally we measure in centimeters, but if you want you can measure in millimeters. It's not forbidden, it's allowed. Discrete is the opposite though. Discrete has some kind of minimum unit. Okay? So an example of discrete would be shoe size. Because when you measure or buy shoes, they're always in multiples of a half. 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5 if you're using US or UK system. Okay. So there is a kind of minimum unit. You can't go any smaller than. So it's almost like the unit here is 0. You can go all the way to 0 if you like, but discrete has a minimum scale, minimum size. You cannot go, it doesn't make sense to measure smaller than this. Okay, so here, well, we don't really use the word unit in this case. we could say it has a minimum packet, or a minimum amount, or a minimum quantity, but I'll just say it has a minimum unit. It has a limit in its accuracy, in its scale. Okay, so let's have a look at this last question here. If it is continuous or discrete. So the first one there, the shoe size of each student in a class is discrete. The income of each person in a workforce, everybody's income. Discrete. Yeah. Huh? Well, that's one reason it's discrete, yeah. Yeah, that is, the hourly wage must be at least a certain number. But even if there was no minimum wage, you can only pay someone in multiples of 1 cent. You can't pay someone half a cent. There's a minimum currency. Currency has a minimum. So like in some countries, I don't know, most people here, they have their currency, and then their currency can be broken up into 100 smaller pieces. Would that be common for most people? I know it's not true for everyone. Yeah. Saudi Arabia or UAE, is it like... Whatever your currency is, it can be broken up into smaller pieces, either 100 or... 100, yeah. But you can't break it up more than that. No. So it's discrete. Yes? No, it's not to do with if there's a lowest or a biggest. It's to do with really how accurate, how much you can adjust the scale. So for height, you can use any scale, right? You can use meters, centimeters, millimeters, micrometers, nanometers. Yeah. What? Yeah. Okay. The payment made on a loan over its lifetime. The payment made on a loan. This is great, yeah. The height of students in a class. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. C. The waist of each pair of your Tesco trousers. There's a reason why I put Tesco in there. The waistband, how big the waistband is on your Tesco trousers. Supermarket trousers. That's my point. Continuous or discrete? Discrete. Because when you buy trousers, you can buy 30-inch waist, 32-inch waist, 34-inch waist. You can't go in and go, excuse me, good sir, I'd like a 33.62 inch waist, right? No, exactly, and that's why I put Tesco in there, because originally I didn't have Tesco, and I was doing this question in the rich, fancy schools, and one of the students said, oh, well, why don't you get your trousers from a tailor? And I suppose so, then you could. So that's why Tesco's in there now. Right, F. The number of steps on a staircase in a building. Discrete, yeah. MQK points? Discrete. IQ score? Discrete? Yes. The weight measurement of each student in the class? Now continuous. Because it's just like height. You're measuring people's weight, which can be any number. How long each staircase is? Continuous. Because it's just like height. How much rain fell in November each day? Continuous. File size, the file size of each file on your computer. Discrete.
You can't go lower than kilobyte.
It's discrete. Yeah, but there's a limit. You can't keep breaking it down. So it goes gigabyte, terabyte, gigabyte, megabyte, kilobyte, byte, and bit. And that's it. No, the height can keep going. It can go micro, nano. pico, femto, you can keep going. But you can't look at file size, you have to stop at bits. Bits are the smallest unit. 8 bits in 1 byte. 1,000 bytes in a kilobyte, 1,000 kilobytes in a megabyte, and so on. But the file size is interesting because it looks continuous, because the file is so big, it looks like it can be any size. But if you're dealing in day-to-day life with smaller files, then you'll notice, oh, my file is always at least 1 bit. But a file that's only 1 bit big would only have 1 character in it, which would only be a 0 or a 1. That's the smallest you can have. Right, M. The time each student wakes up at for school. Continuous. Because you can wake up at any time. You can wake up at 7, 7:01, 7:01 and half a minute, 7:01 and a quarter of a minute, and then a half of a second.
Quarter of a second.
Oh, a quarter of a second. Yeah. Maybe I woke up at a quarter of a second past 7 today. I just wake up at some random time near 7. The time each student sets on his or her Tesco alarm clock to wake up. The screen. I'm trying to emphasize the cheapness of the alarm clock. There is actually a little bit, but that's a different day. So with the alarm clock, you can set the alarm clock. For example, you can set your alarm clock for 7, 7:01, 7:02, 7:03. So those are the screws. You can't set your alarm clock for 7:01 and a half. Tesco alarm clocks you can't. But if you set your alarm clock for 7:01, that doesn't mean you may wake up at 7:01. It means you wake up at some time slightly after 7:01. Or slightly before, yeah. Or way after, yeah. Okay, we'll take a break. Yes.